Today, the robbery story I'm going to tell you doesn't involve bank looting or car theft. This time, the thieves stole a very precious diamond. That too, from the world's most secure and biggest museum. The value of this priceless diamond was £350 million, which in today's time equals approximately 3,600 crore rupees. The most shocking part of this entire heist for the police was that the thieves used a JCB truck for the robbery and had prepared speedboats in the water to escape. This was a very strange and unique method of escape in the history of robberies. So how did the thieves pull off this heist? And how were they caught? To know this, we'll have to go back and learn about two smaller robberies that these same thieves committed one morning in February 2000 in South London's Nine Elms area. Multiple bomb blasts happened at once, which shook the entire Nine Elms. After the explosions, panic spread all over London, and people began to think that a terrorist attack had occurred. There were burning cars on the roads, blown up by bombs. London police immediately reached the crime scene and started their investigation. But it didn't take the police long to understand that this was no terrorist attack. It was a well-planned robbery. The actual aim behind this robbery was to loot the cash van of a local bank, which had £10 million inside. To pull this off, the thieves used a truck on which they installed a huge iron battering ram that was very sharp at the front and very heavy. Their plan was to break down the van's door, using the battering ram, steal all the money, and escape. But luck betrayed the thieves. They had to abandon their truck and run. During the heist, they had left the truck, parked on the roadside with the keys in it, because they wanted to return after the robbery, quickly get in and drive off without delay. Meanwhile, a traffic jam forms on that road. A man gets stuck behind their truck in his car. He keeps honking, but the truck doesn't move, because there's no one inside. Frustrated, the car owner gets out, opens the truck door, takes out the key, and leaves when the traffic clears. Now the thieves, after completing their robbery, return to find the truck door open and the key missing. Seeing this, the thieves panic. They rush on foot to a nearby river, where a boat is already waiting for them. All the thieves board the boat and escape from there. But before escaping, they had planted a bomb inside the truck to destroy all evidence. As they are fleeing in the boat, the bomb explodes in the truck. It was so powerful that it destroyed many nearby vehicles and injured several people. London police were shocked by the unique way these thieves used to rob and escape. This was the first time in London's history that thieves had escaped using a boat after a robbery. Now the police suspected that the thieves might strike again and escape using the river route. So London police began monitoring bank cash depots and the River Thames. 5 months passed since the robbery. In July 2000, during a police patrol, a truck was spotted with the same kind of sharp battering ram used in the earlier robbery. Once again, the thieves targeted a cash van. But this time, the police opened fire to stop the robbery. In response, the thieves also fired back. Though the police managed to prevent the robbery, they still couldn't catch the thieves. The robbers once again fled to a nearby river and escaped using a boat. Now the police were sure this was the same gang that had robbed the Nine Elms cash van. Soon after, police identified one member of the gang. A few days later, a Kent Criminal Department officer was reading the morning newspaper. He saw a photo of the truck with a battering ram in the news. The officer was already investigating some stolen car cases and suspected that the stolen vehicles were being taken to Tong Farm. After seeing the truck photo, he checked his intelligence data and found that he had seen the same truck go to Tong Farm a month earlier. Tong Farm was managed by the Nam family, and one of its members was Lee Wenham, who was well known to the police. Lee often got into small fights and frequently visited the police station. The Kent officer informed the Nine Elms Police Department. After that, they began to closely monitor Tong Farm and Lee Wenham. After weeks of surveillance, police saw that stolen cars were being brought to Tong Farm. They also spotted a blue JCB truck there. Police suspicion on Lee Wenham grew stronger when they saw him with some known London criminals. One of them was named Ray Batson, and the other was Will Cockrum. Both were already suspects in several robberies. The police knew these two could easily execute such a heist, but had no evidence to arrest them. So now, police started monitoring, not just Lee Wenham, but Batson and Cockrum as well. She tells when those people come to the farm and when they leave, and what they bring and take with them. During this time, the identity of the truck driver involved in both thefts is also revealed. That truck driver's name was Terrence Millman, who had several criminal records. And when the police see Terrence with the other three, they realize that these are the thieves who committed the thefts together. Now the police have the names of 4 people. First, Batson, who is the mastermind of this theft. Second, Cockrum, his partner. Third, Millman, an experienced criminal and driver. And fourth, Lee Wenham, who used his place to plan the theft. Then comes August 25th, 2000. This was the day when the police got the biggest evidence related to these thefts. On the afternoon of August 25th, police see a small truck entering the Strong farm with a boat tied to the back. This was the same boat these thieves used to escape. Now the police start feeling that they are keeping an eye on the right place and the right people. And these thieves are planning a new theft again. Since the police couldn't figure out the location of the next theft, they assigned their informers to this case. Just then, the police receive news that Lee Wenham is booking tickets to attend an event with his family. This was the event to be held at London's Millennium Dome Museum. The Millennium Dome was London's biggest and most high-security museum. Because the ticket was very expensive, very few people visited, and the reviews weren't great either. Yet, Wenham was buying tickets for his entire family, which seemed very strange to the police. They start suspecting that this is not a family outing, but the location of the gang's next theft. And the police's suspicion turns out to be absolutely right, because the eyes of those thieves were on the Millennium Diamond kept in the Millennium Dome Museum, which was worth £350 million. Since the Millennium Dome was right on the riverbank, the police's suspicion now turns into certainty. Because these thieves had escaped by boat twice before, and this time too, they chose the Millennium Dome for the same reason. It was right by the river. Now, to keep an eye on Lee Wenham and his gang, the police start placing their officers in every corner of the Dome Museum. First, they place one officer in the camera surveillance room, whose job was to monitor every movement of Wenham and his gang. The very next day, that officer sees Lee Wenham on camera surveying the museum's entry points. He sees Wenham closely inspecting each gate. Now the police deploy some of their people in civilian clothes inside the museum, whose job was to blend in with the visitors and keep a safe distance from Wenham while monitoring him. During this time, the police repeatedly see Wenham moving around the Millennium Diamonds display, which confirms their belief that Lee Wenham and his gang are going to steal the diamond. Although the police now knew about the thieves' plan, they couldn't arrest them due to lack of solid evidence. So, they decided to catch them red-handed during the theft. For this, the police approached the museum owners, informed them of the entire plan, and requested that they not interfere when the thieves attempt the theft so they could be caught in the act. Initially, the museum owners were very scared and hesitant, but then agreed to cooperate with the police. Meanwhile, a big exhibition was to be held in Tokyo, Japan, where the Millennium Museum's most valuable diamonds were to be sent for display. The display glass cases in the Millennium Museum, in which the diamonds were kept, were bulletproof and could withstand any kind of damage for up to half an hour. So, the police started thinking that the thieves might not steal from the museum, but instead target the diamonds while they are being transported to Tokyo. These diamonds were to be sent from London to Tokyo on September 5th, 2000. First, they were sent from the museum to the London police headquarters, and then from there to the London airport. So the police started monitoring every route from the museum to the airport and checked every passing vehicle. They also deployed patrolling boats in all the rivers of London and surrounded the entire museum with 300 police officers. Some were checking people, some were just watching, and some, armed with guns, were stationed on the dome's roof. It looked like the London police were preparing for a war. Then, on September 1st, the museum guards removed the diamonds to send them to Tokyo and replace them with replicas. Between the museum and the police headquarters, there was a tunnel called the Blackwall Tunnel, which connected the museum to London through the Thames River. The police believed that the thieves would try to steal near this tunnel, so they could escape through the Thames. As the tunnel approached, the police became fully alert with their entire team. But no thieves showed up and no theft happened. The biggest question troubling the police now was why the thieves didn't attempt the theft. The police were desperate to catch the thieves red-handed because millions of pounds had already been spent on this operation, and not a single thief had been caught so far. In this confusion, the police arrived at a theory that perhaps someone from their own department was in contact with the thieves and leaked information about the operation to them. All the thieves had managed to escape the trap, and the theft was not carried out. Just when the police started feeling that their operation had failed, an officer in the camera surveillance room spotted Batson and Cockram carefully inspecting the diamond display, unaware that these were fake diamonds and the real ones had already been sent to Tokyo. Now the police realized their theory was wrong and understood that none of their officers were colluding with the thieves. They were now sure that the thieves were going to steal the diamonds from inside the museum and saw another great opportunity to catch them. Meanwhile, the police identified the fifth and last member of the gang. His name was Aldo Karish, and he was 29 years old. In this entire operation, the police were keeping the closest watch on the thieves' escape route, which usually involved fleeing by boat. They thought if they just focused on the boat, they could easily catch the thieves. While still keeping an eye on the boat, the police suddenly noticed a JCB truck in which the thieves were pretending to do some maintenance work. Seeing this, the police's worry increased, and they began to suspect that the thieves might use this JCB in the theft. But how they would use it, they had no idea. As the thieves' preparations intensified, the police began to feel that the theft could happen at any moment. And then, on the morning of October 6th, that JCB truck was seen from the farm. It moves toward the coal yard, which was just a short distance from the museum. Meanwhile, the Tokyo exhibition had also ended, and all the real diamonds were put back into the museum. And just then, while watching the boats and rivers, the police catch the movement of the thieves. The police see that these thieves visit the museum exactly when very high waves rise in the Thames River, and this wave sequence continues for half an hour. The reason behind the thieves doing this was that they took advantage of these high waves to easily launch their boat into the water and escape without anyone noticing them. Now the police start studying these high tide patterns and try to find out when the next high tide will come, because they suspected that the thieves would escape using these high waves. Then the police come to the conclusion that the next high tide will arrive on November 6th at 9:30 in the morning. And this would also be the time when the museum would be open for visitors. This time, the police didn't want to leave any room for error, because they knew a small mistake could cost them heavily. So, the police begin their preparations. From 2 a.m. on November 6th, the police commander deploys his entire police force inside the museum as before. But this time, some police officers hide inside furniture delivery trucks. Some wear museum worker uniforms and start working there. Some become cleaners, and some become tourist guides. In this way, around 150 police officers are spread throughout the museum. The police officers who acted as cleaners hid their weapons in garbage bags, so that in any emergency, they could immediately use them. The police commander, along with 2 officers, goes into the camera surveillance room and starts keeping an eye on every corner of the museum. Now the police were fully prepared to catch the thieves red-handed. At exactly 6:30 in the morning, the first step is taken to carry out the robbery. At 6:30 a.m., a JCB truck moves out from the coal yard. Since the police had already deployed 2 officers outside the coal yard, as soon as the JCB truck moves out, the entire police force becomes alert. But this time something happens that ruins the entire police plan. Just as the JCB truck reaches near the Dome Museum, a car accident happens there, which causes a traffic jam. Due to the accident, the local police arrive with flashlights and sirens, which scares the thieves a lot. They immediately move their boat away from the river and decide not to carry out the robbery today. On the other hand, the London police also feel that they are missing a golden opportunity to catch the thieves. Just then, the London Port Authority, which monitors the rivers, informs the police that the next day, an even bigger high tide than today is expected in the river. Now the police start to believe that the thieves will surely attempt the robbery tomorrow and will definitely try to escape via the river under the cover of the high tide. Two things were troubling the police the most. First, the cost of the operation was increasing day by day. And second, the rumors that news of this operation had been leaked to the media, which could put the whole operation at risk. The police, with full preparation, were stationed at the museum surveillance room, coal yard, and in boats on the river. The next morning, the JCB truck again moves out from the coal yard and heads towards the Dome Museum. At the same time, the boat also moves towards the bank near the Dome Museum, which the police record in their surveillance camera. During this, a bus full of children arrives and stops near the museum, which scares the police because a big robbery was about to happen there shortly. Some police officers immediately reach there and have the bus removed before the thieves arrive. And at exactly 9:33, those thieves storm the museum with their JCB truck. They break through the museum gate with the JCB and enter inside. Then they break the museum wall, which was right next to the diamond display, and get very close to the diamonds. As soon as they enter, Cherokee starts throwing smoke bombs so that the area fills with smoke and no one can see anything. During this, two gang members move towards the diamond display and start breaking the glass displays with hammers where the diamonds were kept. This was the exact evidence the police had been desperately waiting for. They immediately arrive there and arrest the thieves. These thieves had no idea that the police had been watching them for the last 5 months. Suddenly seeing the police, the thieves get scared and quietly surrender. After catching these 3 thieves, the police arrest Lee Wenham and Terrence Millman from the boat near the river. After keeping the thieves in jail for a year, their court trial begins, where Cuckham says that he used an industrial nail gun to break the glass display. During the hearing, the court says that the thieves did not use any guns during the robbery, but they damaged the museum property by using a JCB and attempted to steal London's most precious diamonds. The court sentenced Ray Betson and William Cockram to 18 years in prison, Aldo Cherokee to 15 years, Lee Wenham to 14 years, and Terrence Millman to 12 years. Terrence Millman died of cancer during his sentence. After the thieves were caught, rumors appeared in newspapers that this gang was working for the Russian mafia, and the diamond, after being stolen, was supposed to go to the mafia. However, due to lack of concrete evidence, this still remains a rumor and theory. There was one more thing that even the police didn't know, that before the robbery, the museum owners had replaced the real diamonds with fake ones. So even if the thieves had succeeded in the robbery, they would have gotten nothing.